You keep telling everyone you're okay. You laugh in conversations. You answer messages. You go to work. You encourage other people. But deep inside, there's a version of you that feels completely exhausted. A version of you that cries silently at night. A version of you that feels emotionally drained from carrying pain nobody truly understands. A version of you that has been strong for so long, you no longer remember what peace actually feels like. And the terrifying part is this. You've lived in survival mode for so long that sadness has started to feel normal. But hear this carefully. God did not create you merely to survive. He did not design your soul to remain trapped in fear, anxiety, insecurity, emotional exhaustion, and hidden heartbreak forever. The heaviness you carry today is not your final identity. The confusion you feel is not the end of your story, and the broken version of yourself that you've been fighting to hold together is not the person heaven ultimately sees. Because even now, while you feel uncertain, God is rebuilding you. Quietly, carefully, intentionally. And before we continue, if this message is already touching your heart, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment, "God is changing me." Sometimes, one act of faith opens your spirit to receive what heaven is trying to say to you today. Jesus Christ is preparing a transformation inside you so deep that one day you will look at your own life and barely recognize who you used to be. Not because you became fake, not because you lost yourself, but because the chains that once controlled your mind, emotions, and spirit will no longer have authority over your life. The fear will lose its grip. The shame will lose its voice. The anxiety will stop ruling your decisions. And the person rising from this painful season will carry a peace that cannot be explained by circumstances alone. There were nights nobody saw, nights where you smiled in public but broke down in private, nights where your prayers felt unanswered, nights where you questioned your worth, your purpose, and even your future. You begged God for clarity. You begged Him for relief. You begged Him to show you that He was still there. And although heaven felt silent, God never abandoned you. Not once. While you were doubting yourself, God was strengthening your spirit. While you thought your life was falling apart, heaven was rebuilding your foundation. While you believed you were being delayed, God was preparing you for a version of yourself strong enough to carry what you once prayed for. Some of the holiest transformations happen in hidden seasons, not on stages, not in applause, not in instant miracles, but in quiet surrender. And slowly, piece by piece, Jesus has been healing parts of you nobody else can see. The hidden wounds, the buried disappointments, the silent insecurities you never talk about. He is renewing your mind, teaching you how to stop measuring your value by human approval, teaching you how to stop abandoning yourself just to feel accepted, teaching you how to remain peaceful even when life becomes uncertain. And one day soon, you will notice the difference. The situations that once destroyed your peace will no longer control your emotions. The criticism that once shattered your confidence will stop carrying so much weight. The fear that once paralyzed your decisions will begin losing power over your spirit. You will respond differently, calmer, wiser, stronger, steadier, not because life suddenly became easy, but because God changed you internally. The old version of you reacted from fear. The new version of you responds from faith. And that changes everything. You may still feel broken right now. You may still struggle with insecurity, overthinking, emotional fatigue, and hidden loneliness. But God never called you based on perfection. He called you based on purpose. You are not forgotten. You are not too damaged to be loved. And you are not disqualified because of your past mistakes. Long before people misunderstood you, long before rejection wounded your confidence, long before failure made you question your identity, Heaven already called you chosen. If you truly believe God is still working in your life, even during the difficult seasons, comment, "I am chosen." Let that declaration remind your soul that heaven has not forgotten your name. God sees something powerful inside you, even when you cannot see it yourself. That is why the enemy fought so hard to keep you discouraged. Because fear knows what faith could become if you ever fully realized who God created you to be. But something inside you is changing now. You are becoming emotionally stronger without becoming cold, kinder without becoming weak, more confident without becoming prideful. This is not fake positivity. This is spiritual transformation. The Holy Spirit is teaching you how to stand firm emotionally instead of collapsing every time life becomes difficult. You are learning how to protect your peace without losing compassion. You are learning how to say no without feeling guilty. You are learning how to stop shrinking yourself just to fit inside spaces God never designed for you. And slowly, your entire perspective is changing. You no longer crave attention the way you once did. You no longer need everyone to approve of you. You no longer feel the need to explain your heart to people determined to misunderstand you, because your identity is finally becoming rooted in Christ instead of human validation. And once that happens, freedom begins. The peace God gives is different from anything this world can offer. It is not the peace of perfect circumstances. It is the peace that survives storms. The peace that remains steady while life feels uncertain. The peace that keeps your soul grounded while everything around you feels unstable. The peace that whispers, "God is still with me," even during painful seasons. That peace is growing inside you now, even if you cannot fully feel it yet. One day, you will wake up and realize you no longer panic the way you used to. Situations that once overwhelmed your emotions will no longer control your entire day. You will begin responding with wisdom instead of impulse, discernment instead of fear, calmness instead of emotional chaos. And people will notice. They will notice the peace in your eyes, the gentleness in your words, the stability in your spirit. They will wonder how someone who endured so much pain can still carry kindness. What they will not see are the private moments that built you. The nights where God held your heart together while nobody knew you were falling apart. The silent prayers whispered through tears. The moments you almost gave up, but somehow found the strength to keep going one more day. Heaven saw every single one of those moments. None of them were wasted. Every heartbreak shaped you. Every disappointment refined you. Every painful season strengthened your spirit. Even the rejection you cried over had purpose. Because some doors had to close in order for you to stop settling for environments that were destroying your peace. Some relationships had to end because they were connected to an old version of you that God was healing you out of. Some delays happened because your character needed preparation before your blessings arrived. God was not punishing you. He was protecting your future. There are things you once begged for that would have crushed you emotionally if they arrived too early. There are opportunities you once mourned, losing that actually would have distracted you from your calling. But at the time, you could not see the full picture. Now you are beginning to understand. God's silence was never abandonment. It was preparation. And the person you are becoming now is far stronger than the person you used to be. You are learning how to remain soft without becoming fragile. You are learning how to trust without becoming naive. You are learning how to love others without abandoning yourself. That is maturity, not perfection, not performance, transformation. The old version of you constantly searched for worth in people. You depended on validation to feel valuable. You allowed rejection to define your identity. You overextended yourself trying to earn love from people who never truly appreciated your heart. But Jesus is healing that mindset now. He is teaching you that your worth was established long before anyone had the chance to reject you. You were loved before you performed, chosen before you succeeded, valued before you proved anything. And once your heart truly understands that, your entire life changes. You stop begging for attention. You stop chasing unhealthy approval. You stop settling for relationships that drain your spirit. Because when your identity becomes anchored in God, insecurity slowly loses its control over you. You begin to walk differently. Not arrogantly, not loudly, but peacefully. There is a quiet confidence that comes from knowing heaven already approved what earth failed to recognize. And that confidence cannot be manufactured. It comes from healing. It comes from surrender. It comes from surviving seasons that almost destroyed you and discovering that God never left your side once. If this message is speaking directly to your spirit right now, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. There are people across the world fighting silent battles just like you, and these messages are meant to remind you that you are never walking alone. There will come a day when you look back at this painful season and realize it changed you forever. Not because suffering made you bitter, but because God used suffering to deepen your spirit. The pain that once threatened to harden your heart actually expanded your compassion. The loneliness that once terrified you taught you how to build intimacy with God. The rejection that once shattered your confidence taught you how to stop finding your identity in people. And suddenly, your wounds become wisdom. Your survival becomes testimony. Your healing becomes proof that God still restores broken people. You are not becoming someone artificial. You are becoming who heaven originally intended you to be before fear, trauma, rejection, insecurity, and disappointment convinced you otherwise. And, slowly, your soul is returning to life. You will begin appreciating peace more than popularity, depth more than attention, purpose more than applause. The things that once consumed your mind will begin losing power over your spirit. Comparison will no longer poison your joy the same way it once did. You will stop competing with people whose journey was never assigned to you. Because you are finally realizing something important. God is not asking you to become someone else. He is asking you to become fully alive in who He created you to be. And that journey requires healing. There will still be difficult days ahead. You will still have moments where doubt whispers loudly. You will still experience heartbreak, disappointment, confusion, and emotional battles. But those struggles will no longer destroy you the same way they once did. Because now your foundation is different. You are no longer building your identity on temporary things. Not on relationships, not on status, not on applause, not on success. You are building your life on truth. And truth creates stability. There will come moments where people misunderstand your growth. Some will become uncomfortable when they realize you no longer tolerate the things that once wounded you. Others may resent the boundaries you create as you learn to protect your peace. But do not feel guilty for healing. You are not required to remain broken just to make others comfortable. God is teaching you stewardship over your soul. That means protecting your energy, protecting your peace, protecting the emotional healing taking place inside you. Not everyone deserves access to the healed version of you, and that is okay. As your spirit matures, your relationships will change naturally. You will become more intentional about who influences your mind, your emotions, and your faith. You will begin craving connections built on honesty, depth, encouragement, and spiritual alignment instead of shallow approval. This shift will feel lonely at times, but loneliness is better than constantly betraying yourself just to avoid being alone. And eventually, God will surround you with people who recognize the value of your heart instead of exploiting your kindness. The stronger you become spiritually, the more you will realize that peace, is not the absence of problems. Peace is the presence of God within problems. It is the ability to breathe deeply during uncertainty because you trust that heaven still holds your future securely. And this trust changes your reactions. You stop panicking so quickly. You stop assuming every delay is rejection. You stop interpreting every hardship as proof that God abandoned you, because your history with God reminds you of something powerful. He has carried you before, and He will carry you again. Every prayer He answered in the past becomes evidence that He is still faithful now. Every season He brought you through becomes proof that your current struggle is not stronger than His power. That realization creates resilience. Not fake strength, not emotional numbness, real resilience, the kind that remains standing after storms, the kind that keeps believing after disappointment, the kind that survives because faith became stronger than fear. And soon, even you will notice the difference inside yourself. You will realize your mind feels clearer, your emotions feel steadier, your spirit feels lighter. Not because your life suddenly became perfect, but because God healed the chaos inside you. Before this message ends, take a deep breath and type, "God is rebuilding me," in the comments. Sometimes your declaration becomes the first step toward your transformation. The transformation happening now is sacred. Heaven is rebuilding your confidence, restoring your peace, teaching you how to live from identity instead of insecurity. And one day, you will stand in front of a mirror and realize something extraordinary. The person staring back at you no longer looks emotionally defeated. There is light in your eyes again, strength in your spirit again, hope in your heart again. Not because you saved yourself, but because Jesus never stopped rebuilding you even when you thought everything was over. And this new version of you will carry a peace that darkness can no longer steal.